live by what you believe, because the right people are going to come and help you as well.
Everyone's motivated by different things, and that's what's kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah, we didn't have the exact vision as clear as we have it today, but we knew we wanted to do something really impactful.
And that's just, to me, it's just such an impressive thing that I'm not good at. It's a hard skill to learn. Episode 3, everyone. Milestone. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Ryan Charterina, founder of Peakform Advisory, and this podcast, Build for More. So this podcast, if you're a 7- to 8-figure business owner here in New Jersey, this is made for you. We're going to be bringing on 2 different types of guests to this podcast. One, business owners who have worked themselves out of the day-to-day, built a system behind them and a team behind them that allows them to just focus on, the bigger picture. The other people we're going to bring on are people that want to do that. So our guest today, the Luke Braga. Whoa. Welcome, Luke. Welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it, Ryan. First of all, thank you for having me on. Appreciate you a lot. Our business coach, our EOS coach, also my good friend. First off, before starting, want to give all glory and honor. My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, would not be here without his guidance, without his protection. So I'm super grateful to be here, to be able to pour back into the community and just talk about the experience and the challenges we've gone through. Brief shout out to you again. Would not be here without Ryan as well, who's been one of our trusted advisors. Guy's a decent guy.
I try. I think something about this whole podcast and just the guests we've had on so far, so much gratitude. The 3 guests were the 3 speakers at the most recent event, and everything that they do and how they operate is just like pouring back into other people that just want to be better. And I'm personally grateful for all of them, but more importantly, everyone that watches this. So huge amount of gratitude for you. I want to introduce Luke, and we'll talk through your journey and all that. But Luke is the founder of Braga Brothers Contracting. There's a lot of stuff on the roadmap here, so it's going to be more than just Braga Brothers Contracting. But right now they are a roofing, siding, gutters, and windows company. Yeah. This is a good conversation to talk about as we go through this. They've had some explosive growth over the past few years. Luke, anything to add on that?
No, spot on. It's just growing. Construction, some blue collar guys. I think when people see it and they hear it, like we're construction, they have a preconceived notion of what it looks like to be in construction, but they don't. There's different devils at different levels, right? And I think for the general construction guy, we're in a very low barrier entry industry. So a lot of construction companies or a lot of people that are in construction may be not seen as high or maybe looked down on, but I love it. And there's so many intricacies and so much that goes into being able to build a great company versus just a regular company or a good company, and it's fun, man. It's been a ride. There's so many topics we're going to explore today, but I just want to start out by saying, walk through the journey of what Braga Brothers has been through over the past 3 or 4 years. Like, go back 4 years in the past. The whole purpose of this podcast is to help people work through where they're at right now. And there's people that are going to watch this that are doing 300 grand in revenue, 3 million in revenue, 10 million in revenue, who just want to learn from the experiences of people that are going to be on this podcast. So walk through hey, what was the business like 3 or 4 years ago? Feel free to share your growth numbers and all that stuff. Anything that will help the viewer understand a little bit more about your journey. 100%. So as you know, our father was a contractor for a long time. Was basically a subcontractor for high-end builders and general contractors. My brothers and I saw the opportunity to get into business and take his operations knowledge and his industry knowledge and start our own thing and become more of general contractors, the one that work directly to consumer with homeowners. A couple years back, we'll fast forward a little bit, but obviously there was the growing pains of just learning what construction was and learning the trades that we were in. Going back to about 2.5 to 3 years ago, around when we met you, my brothers and I, we were all operating within the business, no employees, just us three, and then the occasional help from our dad. We didn't really understand what we were doing and how the business was going to grow, although we would get leads from referrals and stuff like that every once in a while. So we were around $1 to $2 million in revenue just from being in business for a couple of years. We started having challenges with each other where there's a lot of finger pointing, not a lot of accountability, not a lot of structure, and it got to the point where we decided to hire our first coach, and he kind of guided us through like setting up a little bit of a structure. And they always talked about EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system. And every time they talk about it, it sounded like music to my ears, where it's like, hey, that sounds like something we really need. Long story short, we go to an event, I see you, we meet you, or I meet you. You're a cool guy. I decide that this is probably something that we need, and this is the guy that could probably help us with it. He's a young cat. He sounds
Not anymore. I'm old now.
We're getting there, unk status. But sounded like knew what he was doing, and it was kind of like, for us at least, like a match made in heaven. Started implementing what is EOS, which is basically an infrastructure for your business, which helps you be able to drive accountability, drive traction, set up roles and responsibilities, set up key point indicators for your people so that everybody has a number attached to them so that we know if they're doing well or not. And basically just guide the business, like, let's say gradually and grow it in a healthy way. From then on, it's just been a journey where we are consistently learning how to become, now at this point, better leaders, better business people, how to get more people to come and join us on the mission and the vision that we have. And it's a journey, man. I think in the beginning, like I mentioned, there was a lot of finger pointing, not a lot of accountability. We didn't really know what we were doing. And through guidance, through coaching, through experience, through learning, it's like it feels like we just get better every single day, every single week, every single month, every quarter. It's like we get a little bit smarter and a little bit better at what we do. And I think those little compounding efforts, the consistent improvement, that 1% better thought every single day, it compounds so freaking fast to where like people that really do go for that and are really pushing and challenging themselves, those are the guys that end up becoming elite and kind of like the cherry rising to the top. Yeah.
Me and you have had so many conversations over the years, and I think the value, and it's so important to recognize like the knowledge gap. What were you feeling, or what did you not know prior to starting this journey together that somebody who's watching this should know? Because ultimately, everything that me and you have talked about it's a knowledge gap. We don't know what we don't know. So what are the things, like going back, what were the things you were feeling? You mentioned the finger pointing. What are the symptoms? What are the things that you were feeling prior to this? And then what do you feel now?
I think it's exactly what you just hit, which is like not knowing what we don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And the more you start to learn and understand, the more you realize you don't know. I think the transition from my last career as a professional poker player to now being an entrepreneur and in business, what I knew from back then was like, hey, I don't have all the answers, but I can have resources and access to the people that do know the answers. So if I can find those people, and those people are, and I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to work with those people, hire them and pay them to teach me, to coach and mentor me. I think the thing that our first business coach and my sensei and good friend Joe Hughes said,
shout out Joe,
shout out Big Joe, was that we're young, ambitious, we're on fire, but we're also smart enough to know that we can get to where we want to go faster by leveraging the collective experience of people that have already been where we want to go. And I think coming in with that train of thought, when we were there 2 or 3 years ago, what we just didn't have was access to those people, right? Because we know that the concept of business and about learning and about growing your business is really about finding who's, right? It's about who, not how. Shout out Dr. Benjamin Hardy, right, for that book. Also Dan Sullivan.
He's a killer. Everyone should watch all his books, please, or listen to all his books. Either one.
Well, a couple great books, but Joe was the first person that really opened the door to us to the industry to get access to more knowledge and to more people so that we can start utilizing those resources and asking the right questions, being in the right rooms, and implementing stuff into our business. And I think to answer your question, it's that access to knowledge, and how do we gain more knowledge? You have to be in the right rooms with the right people, and you have to be constantly investing in yourself and pouring back into yourself in that way to gain more knowledge.
So something that I totally commend you on is you don't hesitate to invest in knowledge, ever, and it's something that is really rare. But I think I know obviously we've been close for a long time now. Your history as a poker player, your risk your risk analysis is very good. Walk through for a business owner, like, there's clients of mine that'll drop, hundreds of thousands of dollars on information, like learning the thing that I don't know. And it may be something so simple, but like walk through what goes in your head when you're making those investments and how you figure out like the ROI, like why is someone going to spend that kind of money and what's the ROI factor of that?
100%. I think there has to be a factor of like risk analyzation, and you have to understand like what the expected value of things are. That's what we were taught in poker, is like every decision you make has an EV, expected value, and it could be an EV of plus 10, or it can be an EV of plus 1, right? And you have to be able to determine like how much EV are you going to get from this decision. That's something I learned early on. So for me, when I'm making a business decision or an investment or a risk thing, a risky decision, I'm evaluating like, all right, how much expected value am I going to get from that? So if it's a decision that might cost me only $5,000, but there's a high like value return on that, I know that that's an easy decision. I only need to know like have like 30% of the information to make that. However, when it comes to like a big decision or a big hire or a big investment, you have to know that that might come with a lower EV return on that. But you have to be able to analyze and judge that. So I think one of the things that business owners have to learn how to do is evaluate risk and see, like, I'm taught, I'd go by 3 frameworks. It's like, hey, if I make this investment, what's the best thing that could happen? That's number 1. If I make this investment, what is the most likely thing to happen? And then number 3, if I make this investment, what is the absolute worst thing that can happen?
Love that.
So if you know that and you can put together like those outcomes, you'll realize that a lot of the risks you make, they're not even really that risky.
It's so true. It's so true.
They're not that risky.
It's so true. Like, I mean, give an example for everyone of like, I don't know. Think about an investment you made, maybe like a person or whatnot, that you're like, walk through those 3 things. Because, I mean, the biggest thing, and me and you have talked about it, is a game of who's. Find the right people that share in your values, get them on your team, and learn from them. And let them own the thing that they're really good at. So walk through those 3 tiers for any sort of decision that you've made over the past 4 or 5 years.
I'll start with the first big decision we made, and I've never said this publicly, but I like it. Yeah, it's crazy. Back when we were just getting started, we were at around, like, we're closing the year off at like $400K in revenue or something like that. We had about $10K in cash to our entire name in our bankroll, and we had our coach, who is now one of our coaches, Coach Hughes, come to our office, and he offered marketing services, and he didn't do many like in-person appointments and things like that. His business serves roofing contractors across the country, and they do Zoom calls and things of that nature. But luckily, he's down in the Jersey Shore. At that point, we were stuck. It was like middle to beginning of December. We didn't have any leads. We didn't have anywhere to go. We knew that we had overhead. We had bills that we were going to have to pay at the end of the month, and we knew that we had about like two months of expenses to pay. And Joe came in, and his services were like $5K or something. So like literally half our bankroll.
Oh no.
Yeah, literally half our bankroll. So we're like, what the heck are we gonna do? Like, we know we need this. And going through that framework, it's not the exact framework I used back then, because over then it was like YOLO, like we gotta do this. But if I go through that now, it's like, hey, what's the best thing that can happen here?
Yeah.
And if I use that framework for that, it's like, hey, this guy can teach us business. This guy can help us generate leads. He can help us structure this thing. What's the most likely thing to happen? Well, he's a professional at what he does, so he'll at least be able to help us generate some leads because he's a marketing professional, right? But most likely he'll help us generate a couple leads. We'll get some information on how a business is structured, stuff like that. And what's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is that we don't generate a lot of leads, or that's basically it. But like, hey, at least we'll learn how to structure the business properly. And
no one dies. No, like,
yeah,
it's not like it's
happens.
life or death. It's all, and like, this is what we talked about a lot at the event, which I think was really cool, is everything that we are all feeling is all in our heads. Everything. Myself included, we all have these emotions and doubts and fears in our head that pop in, and I think having a group of people who refuse to believe that and refuse to accept that is so powerful, because now you're around people who are like, for example, there's multiple people that walked out of that. I got to spend $100,000 on this guy. Like, I need to invest in this guy right now, and they leave that event and go do that. So I guess keep walking through that framework. Like, no one dies. Worst case, you lose $5,000 and you learn some stuff.
Yep.
So when you're going back to the very beginning, what are some things that you now know today that, prior to doing all of this investing, all of this growth, like what are the really important things that you value today that you didn't really know prior to going through this whole journey?
I think it starts with identifying as the entrepreneur and the visionary and the owner of the company, like who you are and what you want, and then what you want your company to be like, and then building everything around that. So knowing, I think something I've done a good job of doing is staying true to myself and building the brand and the business and the culture and the values off of who I am and what I'd want our company to be like, how we want to serve people, how we want to serve our employees, things of that nature. And having that framework and not letting that go and not lowering your standard for that is huge, because I think you should be building a brand that represents you and your values, and then you should be attracting people to the brand that also want to live by those values and have that same standard. So I think once you set that up, the next thing that comes from setting up a good brand and a good culture is knowing that, hey, don't be afraid to be you and to live by what you believe, because the right people are going to come and help you as well. So those people that you need on your team to help you grow, the great people, they're going to be naturally attracted to you for you. They're going to be naturally attracted to your team for what your team believes in and for what your team is bought into. And I think in the beginning, I would have probably been a little bit more bold. I would have shouted it out louder and probably got here a lot faster by just being so true to that and understanding that so much and not being afraid to be who I am. And I think nowadays, it's like, now we all shout it, right? It's like an echo effect between all of our team. Like, this is what we believe in, and we're not afraid to believe in it. So I think all that leads to what eventually every business comes to really understand is, like, you just need to be the right business and have the right team so that the right people can come and want to join you on the mission.
Something with walking through those three pieces, which I thought were extremely valuable, like what's the best that can happen, what's probably going to happen, and what's the worst that can happen. I think that's a really good frame for decision making, because I mean, most of the time it's, and you know this, you just take action. You just do it, because the worst case scenario is like
never that bad.
Ever.
Yeah.
You always will walk away with something. And I think for you, and me also, it's like, that's just a mindset. Like, you're making the investment because it's a mindset. Like, you're like, what's the worst that happens? Like, I learned something, or I learned what not to do.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. Like, that's horrible. But I think the other thing is what leads, and this is for all the business owners watching out there, what leads someone to do that? How do you get to that point where you believe that from a mindset perspective? And then what vision do you have to allow for that? Yeah,
I think it comes from knowing the vision and knowing how far you want to go, and that kind of eliminates like all the fear of doing these, let's say, taking these smaller risks, right? Because if you have a massive vision and you want to change the whole world,
yep.
You know that doing this little thing isn't going to end your mission or end your career or whatever it is. So I think having a big vision, having a big goal, it kind of makes it easier to take those risks along there, because you know that relative to what the mission and the vision is, these aren't that big of risks.
Yeah. I think a valuable exercise for you to share with everyone is like, what prior to, like, think back 4 years ago when you were first starting, you talked to Joe Hughes and he helped you out. Like, did you have a vision of building what you are attempting to build today? Like, did you have that vision very early on, or did you learn that over time?
Yeah, we didn't have the exact vision as clear as we have it today, but we knew we wanted to do something really impactful, something that we were going to be able to help a lot of people with. And I think having that big mindset and kind of being a little delusional, it helped, because of what we told Sensei Joe was that we want to be as big as the Toll Brothers. And the Toll Brothers, they've been around. Yeah, so the Toll Brothers, they've been around for like 70 years or something, multi-billion-dollar company, and we're like, hey, we want to be competing and doing what the Toll Brothers do, and we didn't understand like that it doesn't matter like exactly what you're doing within construction, but we just wanted to have a big impact and have a lot of reach to a lot of people like they have in the entire country. So we had an idea of that, and that was my belief. Is like, if they can do it, why can't we do it? And then from there, it's getting in touch with the right people. Like, now we understand what EOS is, and it kind of helps us reverse engineer. Like, hey, what is your actual goal? Like, in 10 years from now, what is your big, hairy, audacious goal that you want to have? and then let's reverse engineer that so we can know what it has to look like quarter over quarter, year over year for that goal to be attained.
When you set that vision, and so something that I've now been learning a lot of is that every person that I've currently brought on immediately said the same stuff. I want to build something big. Every single one of them. How can you help? That like, where does that come from? Was that always inside you? Did you learn that somewhere? Like, help the viewer, because say I'm a business owner, I'm doing $3 million revenue, and you're like, I want to do 100 million. They're like, well, I want to do 5. Like, I'm at 3, I want to go to 5. Like, this guy wants to go to 100. Like, how did you acquire that? How did you say, like, I want to be as big as Toll Brothers, and you're like, I'm dead serious about that? Because I think a lot of viewers are going to be watching this and are like, all right, yeah, he's going to do it. He's going to build a company as big as Toll Brothers, and then you're going to do it, and they're going to be laughing.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to do it because you've been doing it every single 90 days, and it's going to happen. So I guess what sorts of things have you learned, or what beliefs do you have that led you to pick that big vision and even attempt?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just a vision that I've been given through my faith, right? That I'm here to make an impact, and I'm here to help people, and I'm here to show people like the true way of life, and like what you're supposed to model your life like, and what you're supposed to actually be doing it for. So that's at least for our vision and for our team. And I think having that understanding of like, I've been given a talent, and I'm supposed to use that talent properly to help other people and to inspire other people and to help other people go from where they are now to where they want to go in life. That drives me, because I know I have a calling, I have a mission that's not for me. It's ultimately to glorify God. So it makes it a lot easier to wake up every day and chase that why and chase that big goal, because I know ultimately it's not for me. Because if it was for me, I would have already proved to myself a minute ago that like, hey, like I already know I can accomplish these things. I can go buy the nice house, I can buy the cool cars, I can do all that, but it's not ultimately for me. It's for him, and then it's for other people. So that allows me to keep going and like keep knowing that, hey, like I'm just getting started. It feels like every single year I'm just getting started. It's like, all right, cool, I got to this point. It's like just the beginning, like every year. So it's so true. I mean, to recap that, and we dive into this of discovering your personal why, and it's I personally didn't understand it, and I didn't really put much weight to it, but it is the thing. Like, everyone's motivated by different things, and that's what's kind of fascinating to me. If everyone has their big why, and that's the thing that gets them up in the morning. For the listener, for the viewer out there, like, do some intentional thinking about, like, why do you get up in the morning for your company? Like, why do you run an HVAC company? Why? What is the thing that really motivates you? And really hone in on that, because it's something that I've kind of neglected my emotions a lot over the years, and just been like, oh, I'll just keep working. And something that I've leaned into more is why am I doing all this? Well, I talk to business owners all the time that are like on the verge of tears, and they're miserable, they hate their life, they don't have a great relationship with their family, and that sucks. That sucks, and it doesn't need to be that way. And the only thing that's stopping that is just knowledge. Like, that is literally it. It's the things that you know that you can transfer to the viewers, the things that I know, every other guest that comes on here, that if we just share that more, and they just recognize that it's just a skill. It's literally just a skill and a knowledge gap that they don't have, that they need to acquire. Like, that's my hope for this whole thing. So walk through like the past few years of Braga Brothers. We started working together a few years ago. Walk through the major milestones. Once we started working together, what were the major milestones? The big needle, when you look back the past 3 years, what were the key needle movers that really changed the trajectory of your growth? I think in the beginning, it's first of all, like you said, investing to get that understanding of what business and what infrastructure is supposed to look like, by having divisions, having different roles, different responsibilities, each of those roles having like metrics that they're supposed to be trying to achieve. That was like the first thing. It's like, all right, now we kind of have a target, right? We have a target set. We know what everybody's supposed to be doing, what it's supposed to be looking like day to day. Cool. We have that set. Now it's actually being able to acquire those skills. So same thing as before. How do you acquire those skills? You need more knowledge. You need to learn how to acquire those skills, whether that's through courses, training, or having a coach or a mentor come in and teach you those things. you then learn that, hey, you need people to help you, right? You need to get more capacity with people. So once you start gaining those skills, then you realize, all right, I can do this. I can do it myself. I can execute it. But how do I multiply that production? And you can't multiply your production because you only have so many hours yourself. So what you have to start learning at a certain stage, let's call it like 3 to 8 million, is you have to go from being the hustlers, at least in our case, the people that do everything, to now getting other people to help you do it, right? People that want to come on board and help you, and you start teaching them things, right? You start investing in them and pouring into them. Then those people help you, and then they help you get to the next level where it's like, hey, now you got to create systems and processes for those people, or they have to help you create systems and processes, right? So once you get that understanding, you get those core people. In the beginning, for most businesses, let's say they're doing under 5 million, you have to get a couple generalists, people that they don't have to be exactly specialized in what they do, but they can just help you generally with everything. And that's how we built it. We get those people that are on board, that they want to help, and they have the capacity to help in multiple ways, maybe wear a couple different hats, till you get to the next level where then, like let's say 8 to 15 million, you're starting to get more specialists, right? People that are specialized in what you need them to do. More people that are very good at one specific thing. And you can let that guy take that and just run with it and be like as productive as possible with that. So different stages at different levels, it became learning that there was a gap, then learning how to fill that gap with the skills, then learning how to train people on those skills to fill that gap for you, and then later it became creating processes for them to be able to do those things better, and then eventually after that it became, hey, hire people that can do that thing at a really, really high level. And at least that's where we're at right now. We're at that part where we've hired a lot of great people that are specialized in what they do, and now we're at the part of business where we're focusing a lot on leadership, right? How do we develop people more? How do we invest more into our people? How do we help them grow into their next phase of the journey so that they can then replicate themselves? Yeah.
Talk through the actual structure. So like back when you were, you and your two brothers, I think this is a super valuable lesson for everyone here to learn of like, what was the structure? Like, what was your leadership team at that time? And what does it look like right now?
Yeah, so back when it was me and my brothers, we just knew that we were the 3 owners that kind of did everything. We didn't really know who did what very, particularly. We knew that Tiago kind of like helped the marketing, technology, and softwares. Pedro did like construction, project managing, and sales as well. I helped Pedro with some of the sales and some of the business stuff and trying to acquire more knowledge, but there was no like roles and responsibilities. So what that looked like back then was that, and now what it looks like is we have different rules, different responsibilities for each person on the team. We have a leadership team where everybody knows what division that they own between sales, marketing, operations, and finance, and we have KPIs and roles and responsibilities attached to each of those leaders. And then under those leaders, they have their team members of their divisions that they are responsible for leading, managing, and holding accountable to execute whatever the mission for that division is. So going from back then to having no structure and no team, no real roles or responsibilities, so now it's like, hey, we have divisions, we have specialists, which are our leaders in those divisions, that are now responsible for multiplying and creating leaders under them and people that can do what they used to do under them. And I think what we're going through now is the true sign of leadership. I think what we're taught is that you're not a true leader till you build a leader that builds a leader. And we're at that stage right now where our leaders are not only leading people, but they're trying to build their first couple of leaders that can help them build the next leaders that are going to come up. And as we keep going along and chugging along, that just is what this becomes. It's like, hey, how much can you develop people? How much can you pour in and invest into people so that they can continue growing and basically be able to replicate themselves so they can move up and do the next thing that requires their time, energy, focus, and margin.
So the actual structure was you had marketing, you had sales, you had ops, you had finance. I believe that was the structure prior.
No, we didn't have that structure.
Well, after the 3 of you were like, all right, who was doing what in that structure? And then talk about the visionary integrator thing. And then let's go to today, and then what seats are you in out of that whole structure?
Well, originally, we were doing everything. Because it was just 3 of us, and we were kind of like all sharing roles and responsibilities, different divisions, different seats. And now what it looks like is an organized organizational chart or accountability chart where we each have our own roles and responsibilities. We all have our own KPIs that are attached to us, and we're responsible and accountable for the results that come from each of our divisions. So now what it looks like is, at this current moment, I sit in the visionary CEO seat. As of today, my COO, or as we call integrator, did move forward with us. So starting next month, I'll have my second in command COO coming on board with us. Awesome dude. Really
Huge.
excited for that.
Huge.
And then under him, he is going to be responsible for leading and managing all of our division leaders. So our marketing director, our field marketing director, our sales director, our ops director, and then our CFO. So it looks a lot different. Whereas in the last year or two, the primary things I focused on was CEO, big picture, big relationships, big partnerships, things like that. I've also focused heavily on the COO role, which is the integrations, leading and managing our leadership team, making sure they're good, removing obstacles from them, giving them resources, helping them hire good people and help them develop people. That's what I've been focused on. But now it's coming to the point where after a couple of years of doing that, now I have my COO coming on board, and he's going to be accountable for doing that part of it. So leading them and profit and loss and things of that nature. So it's cool. It's a great feeling. I'm not 100% there yet, where I am just focused on my unique ability of big partnerships, big relationships, looking to the future. How are we going to adapt to the market, things of that nature. But I could see it coming, and I'm excited for it, because I know me being in that and just doing that, I'm going to be able to help my team go a lot faster and a lot further.
There's so many instances where, and we definitely need to hit on the visionary integrator thing. But a lot of the times, as a business owner, you're doing both, and talk through, and now that you will have that, talk through some of the different things that a visionary does versus an integrator does, and talk through the different hats that you've had to play up until this time. I mean, listen, you guys are ultra successful right now. It's only going to compound from here by you getting out of that seat. But kind of talk through what's a visionary, what's an integrator, and then talk through what are the things that a visionary does, day to day, and then what day to day does an integrator do?
Yeah, the primary functions of a visionary is to create, let's say, opportunities for the company to make massive leaps, right? So how does a visionary do that? It's going to the events, it's talking to the people, it's getting in rooms with people that are way ahead of you, and being able to then take in that knowledge and that information to predict what's about to happen, so that your team doesn't have to go through all those pain points. They can kind of skip going through challenges and hurdles that you may have gone through if you didn't get that access to that knowledge. So that's one of the main things: creating the picture, creating the culture, closing those big relationships or those big partnerships that are going to ultimately give your team the obstacles and resources to be able to operate smoother, faster, etc. What the integrator is accountable for is being in the weeds with the leadership team on a day-to-day basis, holding the team accountable, leading them, giving them the resources, going in and helping them fix their challenges, and ultimately pushing them to be better and do better for their team. I think the challenges that visionaries have, such as myself, with doing that, is that we love people a lot, and we're a little bit softer. We don't want to be as hard on our people. We're the ones that got everybody's buy-in. We're the ones that set the direction of the company. We built the culture through just great accountability, hard work, and going in and being the one to be the disciplinary, or being the one that to have those really tough conversations. Although I have done them historically, and I don't 100% mind doing them, it's not where my unique ability is, right? I'm more of the encourager, the motivator. But if I have to go in and be the disciplinary person, or be the person that's going to have the tough conversation, I'm not the best at having those conversations, just because of how direct and how, let's say, blunt I can be. Whereas somebody who has maybe better skills or better communication skills than me, he can go in and he can turn that conversation into a positive and encourage somebody and ultimately do what he's supposed to do, which is help that person remove the obstacles that they're facing. Whereas I'm more of here's the answer, do it, just freaking get it done.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And I hope some people resonate with this, because if you've ever met someone who's a natural born integrator, and they're really good at it, they're a magical human being that it doesn't make sense to me sometimes, because they're so good about driving accountability, but they do it so gracefully where it's not like I just punched you in the face. And that's just, to me, it's just such an impressive thing that I'm not good at. It's a hard skill to learn, and to me, it's people have those unique abilities. Talk through the phrase unique ability, and what you feel like when you're not doing things that are in your unique ability. What does that feel like?
Oh, it's draining. It's really tough. Like,
yeah.
I think what we're taught through the framework of EOS is a GWC, right? And this is like super key because it helps you know if you're doing the right thing or if you want to be doing the right thing. The get it, want it capacity. So you have a unique ability. It's something that you just naturally do. You naturally love to do. You're good at it. Whether that's leading people, whether that's analyzing data, whether that's sales or managing projects. In our case, it's like you are good at that. And you don't even really have to try for that. Obviously, you can push the limit and become better, but it's just what you're naturally good at doing.
Yep.
And for me, I love people. I love closing deals. I love closing big deals. I love learning stuff. I love being a sponge. I love looking into the future. Visionaries, we're good at living in the clouds and like just and creating that big vision, having no limiting beliefs, and just saying like, hey, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to get there. We're really creative problem solvers. So if there's a big problem that we have within our organization or within our team, we love those problems. Whereas the integrator, their unique ability is getting in the weeds, seeing the inefficiencies in the company, helping remove those obstacles, helping the leaders realize their problems and overcome those problems. For me, as a visionary integrator, somebody that has been doing both, I can stretch myself to do that, but it's like the rubber band effect where it's like, this is my natural state as a visionary and my unique ability. If I'm up in the sky, up in the clouds and learning stuff, and this is like where I'm at. However, when I have to go into the weeds and stretch myself and play the integrator, I'm stretching myself. But what naturally happens because of what my unique abilities are is that either that rubber band snaps or it goes back to its original state. So I can only play integrator and be that guy for a certain amount of time before I naturally might snap on somebody or might like be like, dude, just freaking do it or something like that. So it's if you're not doing what you're naturally good at doing or what you want to be doing, it's tough because it's going to be draining and you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the weight of it. You're not going to have fun doing it. You're not going to do it very well. So I think it's really important for people to get clear and really sit with themselves and take some time to like be like, hey, like, who am I? What do I like doing? Who am I? What do I love doing? What do I want to be doing? And what am I like? What is that thing I'm like just uniquely good at that just comes to me naturally?
This brings up a question. What's a belief that you had like prior or like in the very beginning stages of starting a business that you now are like, that's complete BS? What pops in your head?
I think the main thing that business owners go through, especially at an early stage, is that they think that nobody could do the things that they do better than they can do.
Gold.
Is that good?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, because I can do everything in the business. I literally feel like I can do anything in the business.
So good.
And up until a certain point, until I met somebody like Kevin, who's a sick salesperson, till I met somebody like Malik, who's an awesome analyzer of data and also a great leader, till I met somebody like Pedro, or I've kind of known Pedro, but somebody who's just naturally good at construction, right? And Thylini, who's awesome at being detail-oriented and making sure things don't slip through the cracks, or Tainan and Lucas Arujo, who are great salespeople and collaborators. Until I meet these people, you don't realize like how much you actually suck at something. Because we're generalists as business owners. We can get everything done pretty freaking well up until a certain stage till we're like holding on to like 20 different things. And then it gets to the point where it's like, all right, like I've done it for so long. And I've always been the one that can get it done because that's what we do. We just get things done until you meet people that are like just naturally get it done a lot easier than you get it done. And that's like the one thing that I think most business owners struggle with is they have the cojones to take the risk and get into business and get it off the ground, which is probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I'm lucky that I had my brothers to do it alongside me with. But it gets to the point where like you gotta like kill the ego and realize like you're not the best at all these things. It's literally impossible for you to be the best at all these things. You gotta find people that are good at doing these things and just let them freaking do it.
You said something before that you're like, starting a business was the hardest thing that we ever did.
Yeah.
You think that was harder than where you're at right now?
Harder? I mean, every level, it's like new devils,
I
new levels.
I want to like dive into that because so many people have the limiting belief that growing is harder. I mean, like it's a common theme where I'm like, well, if I'm gonna grow, then like it's more is gonna happen.
So I think another shout out to Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan.
Read all his books, seriously.
10x is easier than 2x, right? Getting it off the ground, I'll say from my experience, was the hardest thing ever because I think you're not the person yet that knows how to do all these things, and you don't have all the information and knowledge on how to do these things. You also don't have the experience, so you have to like hit the wall a lot of times, and I think getting through those obstacles and challenges were the hardest things because you have to self-reflect a lot. You have to take a lot of accountability on like where you're falling short, and I think that's the hardest thing for people. I think at this stage that we're at now, it's another challenge, which is leading people and becoming a better leader and still having to self-reflect so much, and having the opportunity now to work alongside such amazing people and people that are so good at what they do. I think if you can build yourself up to that level where you are the guy that people want to be with and they want to follow and they want to run through a wall with, it becomes a little bit easier because help comes along the way, right? Those people that want to help you and want to help get to that vision just as much as you do, they're going to naturally be attracted to you, and it becomes a little bit easier because now you get the specialist that's good at marketing, you get the specialist that's good at operations, you get the specialist that's good at sales. And again, you're not that specialist, you're the generalist, right? You're the one that's motivating and driving the vision, and I think it actually becomes in some ways a little bit easier.
I think something you said prior to that that I was reflecting on was all the people that you've met along the way have expanded your vision and allowed it to feel easier. Like for example, like your brother Pedro having a construction knowledge, and this is just kind of your unique ability, is that you see someone's unique ability, like you can see it, which is awesome because then you're like, that guy likes this way more than I do. You got it. Yeah. But like talk through, say you didn't know Pedro, say you didn't know Kevin, say you never met any of these people. How much harder would it be to expand your vision? I mean, could you even conceptualize that?
Nah, I can't imagine trying to do this thing without them. At this point, it's like I did enough myself for the first couple years where like I ran myself into the ground a couple times. I lost control of my health, of my faith, and of my relationships, trying to give it all to the business. But something that always stuck out to me was the phrase that like, hey, for the hustler in you has to die for the CEO in you to grow. Yeah. And now that I'm at this stage, I understand that I can't do it all alone. I can't be the one that holds everything and is responsible for all the success of the business. I need people, and I need great people that care as much as I do and want it as bad as I do. And the phrase that I always use, or not the phrase, the picture I like to paint is, I'm a sports person, is like going from being the 80s Jordan to being the 90s Jordan, where Phil Jackson came and united a team, got Scottie Pippen, got Dennis Rodman, got all those guys. And same thing with like going from being number 8 Kobe to being number 24 Kobe, where 8 Kobe was super individualist. He was all about mostly himself. It was like, hey, how much can I do? How much weight can I carry? How much can I execute? To then having Shaq leave and having to rebuild himself and retrain his mind and go through that process where now he knows he needs a team. He needs people that can help him. And I think that shift in the mindset for a business owner is so crucial. It's so necessary. Until they get that and that switch in their mind flips, it becomes really, really challenging. So you got to change your framework. You got to get around people that constantly drill this into your head like, hey, dude, you don't have to do it all. You got to find some good people that want to do it with you.
Two things. What would you suggest for people that they're at, say, 4, 5, 6 million revenue, and they're like, we can't grow anymore. I can't find people. What advice would you give them in order for them to expand their vision and their mindset? And also, because it's a chicken or the egg thing. It's, do you have the vision first, or do you get the people first that then expand your vision? So how can you help some of the viewers understand, like, how do I hit that from both angles?
I think you have to surround yourself with or put yourself in rooms with better people that are a lot further ahead of you and that have done the thing maybe in your industry that you don't believe is even possible, just so that you can hear feedback from them. And then once you get in those rooms, they're gonna tell you the same thing that that we all know as business people, is that you have to constantly keep learning. You have to constantly keep evolving. And one of the only ways to learn more, to evolve more, is to get help from coaches such as yourself that can actually help you, like, put into practical steps what we have to do to make this thing happen, right? Reverse engineer it. So I think after you get in those rooms and you meet with a coach and you start getting some help, you're going to be able to put together a true, like, plan of action to get where you ultimately want to go. And everybody's end goal is different, right? Not everybody wants to build a $100 million company, but you have to know that, and you have to have some guidance on, like, hey, like, what does life really look for you when you have this business running exactly how you want it to run? For me, at this moment, it's like I want to build an awesome team, a big company. I want to lead a lot of leaders. I want to build a lot of leaders that can build more leaders, so that ultimately we can impact a lot of people. And for me, it's like I see myself doing this forever. I'm not the type of guy that wants to live the fancy, lavish lifestyle. I want to lead other people, and I want to build up people. So it's like, for me, it's like, all right, I see myself doing this for a long, long time. It's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. I think you got to get in those rooms and hire great coaches and get around great people.
There's so many golden nuggets, and something that I would suggest everyone does is, like, just go talk to a bunch of different, like, advisors, coaches. I mean, there's EOS, there's Scaling Up. There's all these different resources out there, and, for you to be suffering in your business, like, reach out, like, go talk to a bunch of people. Something I commend you on, every time a new problem pops up in the quarter, you're like, I'm going to go talk to 7 marketing people, and I'm going to learn everything I possibly can and potentially hire that person. Or this is the new bottleneck. I want to talk to everybody who's an expert in that, and then I'm going to learn all those things. Guys, it's free. It's free. It's free. It's free content. Like, reach out. There is nothing stopping you from reaching out. And if you don't ask, you will never get. And
it's all out there. All the information is
100%.
out there. You just have to, what is it? It's biblical, right? Ask and you shall receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened.
Yeah.
So if you're courageous enough to go out and seek the information and get out of your own head and stop putting those limiting beliefs that, like, hey, I can't do it, you'll go out and find the people or the information that will help you do it.
Yeah. I mean, and Luke pokes me back on this a lot, but I'm the guy that's going to ask people questions to get to the root of, like, let them discover what's actually blocking them. What do you feel like is stopping business owners from just asking those people, like, reaching out to some people for help? What is the thing that's stopping them? Because in reality, it's like, it literally could just be a DM away from, like, getting the thing you need to break your business open. Or another business owner who's already been there.
I think it's limiting beliefs, some pride, some ego. A lot of business owners that have been doing it for a while might think, for lack of better words, might think that they know it all, right? But they just really haven't pushed themselves or challenged themselves to get around the people that are further ahead of them for whatever reason. Again, probably pride, ego, limiting beliefs. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think prevents them. For me, I believe that a lack of or too much information and a lack of implementation will stop you from doing things. What I've always been good at, my older brother said to me when I was like 8, he's like, dude, you ask so many questions. That's why you have such a big head, right? So
thank you.
So I've always been the person that I've never been afraid when I'm curious about a topic or want to learn about something.
Yep.
I'll be in a room of 1,000 people and I'll stand up and ask the question. I don't care what you think, but I'm going to ask that question to that coach or advisor or consultant to give me the answer that I want to know. And even when I'm talking to people, I'll ask tough questions like, hey, like, how do you deal with this? Or like, how have you dealt with this? Or like, one thing I'm going to ask somebody close to me, it's like, hey, how many times do you call your mom a week? Because that's something that I could do better.
Yeah.
But that, for a visionary or entrepreneur that's always busy, that might be a tough, uncomfortable question that he has not been asked probably maybe ever.
Yeah.
And like being able to challenge people and be bold enough to try and seek that information from people, I think it's something that a lot of business owners are probably afraid to do just because of either, pride, ego, or just limiting beliefs.
So the founder of EOS, Gino, it's really interesting, but he basically said, he's like, I don't work with anyone under the age of 45. And I was like, what? That's so strange. And he was like, the ego. There's a lot of pride and ego in the younger generation, and they're not mature enough yet. I was like, wow, that's super interesting. And honestly, like, he's not wrong. We all, myself included, get caught in an ego game where I'm like, why am I saying this? It's like, is this an ego thing, or is this like a legitimate thing that's stopping me? And sometimes it's ego. How do you manage to put your ego aside and just do the right thing for the business?
Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, one of the first books I ever read. Shout out to my boy Matt in Canada, one of my first poker friends who got me into reading.
Never read that one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Ego is the enemy and The Obstacle is the Way. Those are the first two books I read. Like, was really intentional about my self-development when I was playing poker. So shout out Matthew Yane. Miss you, bro. Miss Raph too. Love you guys to death. What was the question?
Classic. Great question. What things do you do to put your ego aside?
Gotcha.
So that you can just do the best thing for.
I think it's just understanding that having the love of people and knowing that you're always trying to do the right thing for the business and for people is going to help you be a lot. It's going to help you make decisions a lot easier, right? If you're doing them for your own self-benefit or for your own self-gain, it becomes a little bit harder. But when you have the mindset of being somebody who wants to be a servant and always do people right, and no matter what, not question your integrity or your decision, it makes it a lot easier to just be like, to own up to maybe even things that you've done wrong or have that tough conversation. I actually just had this happen 20 minutes ago with one of my leaders where it's like, dude, I think I messed this up. And it's like, and I'm telling you this coming from a vulnerable, like being vulnerable because I don't know any other way to be. Like, I don't want to try and hide this or bring it up later when it becomes a bigger thing. And what came out of that was like a freaking amazing conversation where one of my leaders is going to be stepping up and owning this thing that, you know, whatever it is, and taking some weight off my plate. And he's like, dude, I would love to do that. Like, and it's like, I could have held this on for longer and kicked it down the road and not got it solved. But because I was like, I sat with myself and I was like, I got to be honest about this and I got to be open and vulnerable about it and know that no matter what, I have the best intentions of the team and of these people in mind. It basically like just probably saved us months and hundreds of thousands of dollars in efforts.
I never intended on this podcast to be like more emotion based, but as I've been doing this now for so long, it's all emotions. Everything. The tactics are out. Like, I mean, they're all out there. It's just a matter of like people actually sitting down and doing them. But a lot of this is just emotional control. And I was laughing before as you were talking because the ego thing pops up, and you know, Britt's gonna watch this. and it's funny because, you know, and there's things that she's like, why aren't you on my side? And you know, the ego thing for me is I don't want to just be on your side. I want to just do the right thing. And like that's just been my motto for forever is I just want to do the right thing. I want to do what's right here. Not be on your side, not do what's right for you, not do what's right for me. I just want to do what's right for everyone.
Period.
And I think that helps. That at least helps me keep my ego in check. Where it's like I just want to do like what's the right thing here.
And I think that it's so interesting that you have that mindset, and so many entrepreneurs, visionaries have that. They do think of that. They're not really always doing things. People see people at the top or like the people that are really successful, and they think that they have to step over people to get there. But generally, those are the guys that always try to do the right thing. And how I believe biblically is to whom much is given, much is required, right? And God is only going to equip the people that He thinks are capable of handling that type of responsibility, right? If He's not going to give a lot of people like those resources and the wealth, if He doesn't think that they're going to do right by it. So I think that's so important is knowing that like the responsibilities you're given, they're given to you for a reason, and that we have this knowledge and we have this mindset because we are always going to try and do the right thing by people, which is what this is all about. It's all about people. The love of people.
The love of people. Something that I think is another one of your superpowers is the vulnerability thing. And again, the three people that have been on this podcast so far, you're all vulnerable. You say, listen, I messed up. What does that do for a team when you're able to be there as the business owner, as the one that everyone looks up to, and you're able to just be like, hey guys, totally blew this one. That one's on me. What does that do for a team? What does that do for the business?
Your people, they don't want a perfect leader. They want an authentic leader. So I think being able to be vulnerable and show them like the human side of things, where it's like, guys, I know I'm leading you. I know I'm accountable for these decisions. I'm going to own up to these decisions, but showing them that you're not perfect, and when you do make mistakes, you're willing to be vulnerable and own up to them and apologize for them. It takes a little bit of weight off their shoulders, because then that empowers them to make decisions and to do things, and to know that, hey, if I make a mistake, I'm not going to be crucified for it. If I make a mistake, I'm not getting fired or getting yelled at or anything like that, because I see that my leader, he does the same thing. He's human too. I'm human. So like, it empowers them to try and, be a little bit more bold, right? Be a little bit more ambitious. Don't be afraid to go to take the shot, right? If Michael Jordan was the one responsible for taking every single game-winning shot or every key shot in a game, they wouldn't be a championship team. Because he was vulnerable, because they had great people around them, everybody feels empowered to step up and try and help the team accomplish whatever mission that team has. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, let's dive into what are some things that you would have done differently over the past 3 or 4 years and getting to today that either would have got you here faster, or just something that potential mistake that could have been missed. Or what are your thoughts on that?
I would have got better people around me sooner, so I would have went back in time. I would have
coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I would have probably had a little bit more money and invested a little bit more money and hired Ryan Charterina off the rip, and then I would have got great people around me sooner. If I could go back, I'd raise some capital. I'd hire people sooner, hire great people, and then that's basically it. I think the more help you can get sooner, the faster and the further you'll go. I think along the way, I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the journey of entrepreneurship and becoming a better leader. I think if I were to do it all over again, I can do it probably 10 times faster. Do it probably within a year or two versus the 5 or 6 years it's taken us to grow into becoming leaders and becoming better business owners and things of that nature. But yeah, I think it's just invest in knowledge sooner and get good people around you sooner.
It's funny that, like, of all the things, it's literally just that.
2 things, yeah.
Every single person that's been on the podcast has said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Invest in people, invest in people, invest in people, invest in people. Over and over again. So when you're that business owner and you're doing 3, 4, 5 million revenue, even 10 million revenue, and you're like, we can't afford that person right now. What advice do you have for that business owner who's saying, I can't afford this, or I can't afford to pay a recruiter for this, or I can't afford, walk me through what goes in, what's the first thing that pops in your head?
Yeah, I would say you can't not afford to hire that person right now.
Yep.
The opportunity cost, the amount of revenue you lose and of time and energy you lose by not hiring that person that you need costs a lot more than actually hiring that person. Just a easy example, it's like I can try and figure out how to do marketing. I can try and generate leads myself and do all that, or I can hire the person that knows how to do it, and from day one of hiring him and paying him $100,000 or whatever it is, he will instantly generate 10, 15, 20 times whatever that investment is. Or I can spin my wheels and get myself and dive into the weeds of marketing as a business owner and try and figure that all out myself, and just spend a crazy amount of time, a stupid amount of money trying to do it myself, and not actually generate the same returns I would generate just hiring the person that knows how to do it.
What things were you feeling prior to actually doing that more and faster? What were things? We say you were trying to do it yourself. What were you feeling and doing?
Yeah.
What were some of the symptoms that popped up as a result of you having to do all those things?
I was feeling stuck. I was feeling like I wasn't gaining much traction. Like I wasn't actually moving. Like I was going in circles. I was feeling the weight of having to do multiple different things and trying to figure out multiple different things. I think it's the thing that we all feel. It's like you're putting a lot of weight on your shoulders and a lot of expectations on yourself that aren't fair expectations. Like, dude, you're not. How can you be mad at yourself for not knowing how to market if you've never had to do that just full time and really get the full investment from learning how to do that? And I think as business owners, we kind of punish ourselves by constantly trying to do those things over and over and dive deep into things that we shouldn't be diving deep into, when it's like, dude, just hire some help, man. Like that person will generate you the return times a lot, times 10, times 20, times 30. And I think once you get a taste of that, and you get a taste of like what a good hire is, and what a great person is, it becomes freeing, right? It's weight off your shoulders. It's less cargo to pull. It's like instead of you pulling all the weight, you have somebody pulling with you.
What do you say to business owners who are like, I can't find good people?
I think you have to self-reflect and probably become a better person. I think you have to invest more into yourself, more into your company, more into your brand. Put things in place that are going to attract the right people, because good people find good people naturally. And if you are the right person that people want to follow and lead, eventually the doors are going to open and God's going to connect you guys, and it's going to be like, oh my gosh, where have you been my whole life? And I think that's what's been happening to us month over month, year over year, where it's like we just keep finding great people that are attracted to what we're doing, and they're aligned with the mission that we have, and they believe the values that we have, and it's just because we're true to who we are and what we're trying to do.
Something I would urge all of the viewers to do is go expand your mindset and talk to as many recruiters as you possibly can, and start collecting resumes for jobs that you're not ready to hire for.
I do that.
Of course you do that.
I meet with everybody.
I know.
I love meeting people. Yes.
But the point of that is that, and this is the most hilarious thing, is you get on a call with that person and you're like, what is this person even talking about? I don't know any of this stuff. Yeah. And they just humble you, and you're like,
if you're not learning from the people in the interview, they're probably not the right person. They probably aren't as good at their role as they should be to come into like an organization of yours, right? If you already know everything they're saying, there's a good chance that you probably got to keep looking further and then try and find somebody that knows a little bit more to be, because that person should be an expert in what you're hiring them for.
What is the cost of, let's just throw marketing, hiring someone for $100,000 versus hiring someone that's going to kind of do it for cheaper? What is the cost of hiring the cheaper person?
The cost is a lot of missed out revenue, time and energy for you, who's now going to be having to go in there and make and figure it out with them, right? Instead of you just giving it to them and paying the person that's just good at doing it, now you have to go into the weeds with them and try and help them problem solve and things of that nature. Hiring the right person is like, hey, you completely give it to them, let them own it, let them be responsible for the results or the lack of results. Generally, you're going to get great results by hiring the right person, and you get all your time and energy back, plus you get the return on investment that you originally accounted for. It's like, dude, if I'm hiring this person for $100K, they should be trying to generate me, at least 10x that. So,
and the reason I say that is because a lot of business owners are looking for the more affordable option, when if your vision is bigger, and again, this is the chicken or the egg thing, where it's like, well, my vision is so big that I got to hire the expert right now. But then the business owner who's like, well, my vision's I want to double in the next 5 years. It's like, well, then you're probably just going to go the more cost-effective route. What do you have to say to business owners who are like, I want to double in the next 5 years? Like, what would you challenge them to do, or potentially even reconsider that?
I would challenge them to think bigger. Like, you're capable of a lot more. You already took the first couple, the hardest steps, which is getting this thing started and getting it off the ground. I think the life you're capable of and the business you're capable of building is probably a lot more than you could imagine. Get around people that have done it already. Let them help you expand like your capacity and your thoughts and your dreams of what you could do, so that you can do what you do best, which is probably impact people, motivate people, and help build people up.
Nothing makes me happier than when someone's like, I want to double my business in 5 years, and I say, what's stopping you from doubling it in 2? And I literally just had this call 2 days ago, and I said that exact same line, and he was like paused, deep pause, and he was like, my mindset. He's like, so nothing else is stopping you but your mindset. And he's like, yeah. I was like, cool, that's great. Like, solved. But he just doubled his vision in one conversation. Go talk to people. There's people out that, like, in one conversation will triple your vision, and then you're like, wow, I didn't even know that was possible. And now your whole world is shifted. So, for me and for everyone I talk to, like, inspiring people to just, like, there's far, and I've said this before, there's far dumber people that have done way, way more than all of us. And I think that's the fun part of like, well, and you said it earlier in the podcast, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So, if you're a business owner, what sorts of things for the viewers? Say you're running a plumbing company, HVAC company, electrical company. Like, what sorts of things should they start doing right now to prepare their mindset so that they can grow and have the life that they want?
It's so simple. And guys, we're in the trades, so things don't get simpler, right, than what we do. Like, we're very direct to the point. Get around great people. Get around business owners that are further ahead than you. Get in rooms with people like Ryan, coaches, consultants, advisors that help people like us. Do not lock yourself away in your office. Do not try and go do every job or do everything. Make time to go and invest back into yourself, into your knowledge. John Maxwell has the principle of the lid, right? The leadership lid. The company can only grow to the capacity of the leader's lid, right? So how much the leader knows. The more you invest in yourself as a leader and as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and get yourself in rooms with people like Ryan and people that are further ahead than you, the more you're going to be able to come back and help your team and be like just make things happen. Do what we're meant to do as business owners and visionaries, which is that make things happen.
Well, that's. You have anything else to leave for anyone? Last piece of advice for the viewers?
No, all I gotta say is I've been in a lot of your spots. I'm not that much further ahead than you guys, than the $5 million business owners, and I see what direction we're heading in. I see what's possible. I meet with people that are way further ahead of us, and all I gotta say for them is I believe in them. I think you guys can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm not anything special. I think you just have to believe in yourself more. Get yourself in the right rooms, right? Invest in yourself. Take that time. Make that time for yourself, and just put yourself around people that want to help you grow, that want to see you do better, so that you can ultimately impact more people. Because there's a lot of people counting on us. So don't shy down. Don't back down. Don't quit. Just keep going. Keep making it happen. You got this far. You didn't come this far to only get this far. So keep pushing along, man. Get it done.
I love it. All right, everyone. That's a wrap. Hope you took something away. Again, everything that you want in your life is on the other side of getting uncomfortable, asking of just being vulnerable and saying, hey, I need help. I want to go here. What do I need to do? And the answer will be right in your face. So get vulnerable. Go have some conversations with other business owners. Go have conversations with as many people as you possibly can. And for everyone that's watching, you can do it. So just always remember that. And obviously, if there's anything either of us can do to help you, we're here for you. So
reach out to this guy ASAP. This guy's he's becoming big time. He's getting busy. You're gonna want to get on this guy's schedule before he's not taking people on, because it seems like that's happening pretty soon, right? You don't have to go into detail about what your next ventures are, but just talk about how much more capacity do you have to help people. Are you still taking on clients? Are we one of the lucky few? What's going on? You're not going to abandon us, are you?
I'm building out a team of implementers right around here. So I'm going to slow down my client load. I'm going to remain with the clients I currently have. So I have spots for literally one more. But other than that, we have other people that are going to be helping. There's so many business owners here that I talk to that want help, and we're in a place right now where I have a really good partner who's going to come in and help a few of the people we've been talking to. So super fired up on that, and then there's more bigger plans in the future. So stay tuned.
Just getting started, baby.
Stay tuned.
How far into this thing are we? You're 10 years or something?
5, 6-ish.
6 years in, just getting started.
Just getting started.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Appreciate you.